Imagine a time long ago, around 3,000 years in the past, a time when the world was vastly different from what we know today. The air was filled with the clang of metal and the hum of bustling markets. This is the Bronze Age. Swords are bronze, shields are bronze, even tools are bronze. Bronze was the lifeblood of this era, shaping the way people lived, fought, and built their civilizations. In this age of bronze, a powerful city stood in what we now call Turkey. The city was Troy. It was a city of legends, a place where myth and history intertwined. Troy was no ordinary city. It was a beacon of power and wealth, a hub of culture and commerce. It was located at a crucial point, a strategic location that gave it immense control over the surrounding regions. It guarded the entrance to the Black Sea. This made Troy rich. The city's wealth was not just in its treasures, but in its strategic importance. It controlled trade routes between east and west. These routes were the veins through which the lifeblood of commerce flowed. Traders passed through its gates. They came from distant lands, bringing with them exotic goods and tales of far-off places. They brought goods and stories from distant lands, silk, spices, precious metals, and more. Each trader added to the rich tapestry of Troy's culture. Troy was a gateway between worlds, a place where East met West and cultures blended. The Trojans were skilled warriors. Their prowess in battle was renowned, and their reputation as fierce defenders of their city was well earned. They built massive walls around their city. These walls were not just for protection, but were also a testament to their engineering skills and determination. These walls were a symbol of strength. They stood tall and imposing, a clear message to any would-be invaders. They made Troy almost untouchable. The city's defenses were legendary, and its people were proud of their heritage. Little did the Trojans know their might would soon be tested. A great conflict was on the horizon, one that would echo through the ages. A storm was brewing, a storm ignited by gods and fueled by human passions. The stage was set for one of the most epic tales in history. High above Mount Olympus, the Greek gods dwelled. Their home was a place of grandeur and mystery, where the clouds kissed the mountain peaks and the air was filled with divine presence. They were powerful and immortal, but they were also flawed. Much like the humans they ruled, their lives were filled with drama, jealousy, and intrigue, making them relatable yet awe-inspiring figures in mythology. One day, a golden apple caused a stir among the goddesses. This apple was not just any fruit, it was a symbol of beauty and desire, capable of igniting fierce competition. This was no ordinary apple. It was inscribed with the words, "For the fairest." The inscription alone was enough to spark curiosity and envy among the goddesses. The goddess Eris, known for sowing discord, tossed this apple among the goddesses. Eris thrived on chaos and saw this as the perfect opportunity to create turmoil. Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite each claimed the apple as her own. Each goddess believed she was the fairest, and none were willing to concede. Their vanity and pride led to a bitter dispute. The argument grew so intense that it threatened the peace of Mount Olympus itself. Zeus, the king of the gods, refused to judge. He knew that choosing one goddess over the others would lead to further discord and possibly even war. He instead chose a mortal, a Trojan prince named Paris, to decide the fairest. Paris was known for his fairness and judgment, making him the ideal candidate for this daunting task. Each goddess offered Paris a bribe. Hera promised him power, Athena offered wisdom, and Aphrodite offered something far more tempting. But it was Aphrodite's promise that swayed him. She offered him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, a promise that was hard to resist. She promised him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen of Sparta. This promise set the stage for events that would lead to one of the most famous wars in history, the Trojan War. Helen was no ordinary woman. She was said to be breathtakingly beautiful, but there was a problem. Helen was already married to Menelaus, the king of Sparta. Unaware of the consequences, Paris, guided by Aphrodite, sailed to Sparta and abducted Helen. This act ignited a fire that would consume Troy. Menelaus was furious. He called upon his brother Agamemnon, the most powerful king in Greece. Together they assembled a vast army. 1,000 ships set sail across the Aegean Sea to reclaim Helen and punish Troy. The Greeks, or Achaeans as they were also known, arrived at the shores of Troy. The Trojan War began. What followed was a grueling siege. For 10 long years, the Greeks tried to breach the walls of Troy. The Trojans, led by King Priam and his son Hector, fought bravely. The war became a stalemate. Heroes rose on both sides, their names echoing through time: Achilles, Ajax, and Odysseus for the Greeks, Hector, Sarpedon, and Aeneas for the Trojans. Among the heroes, Achilles shone brightest. He was said to be invincible in battle, except for his heel. Hector, the Trojan prince, was known for his courage and loyalty. He defended his city with unwavering determination. Their destinies were intertwined in a tragic tale of glory and sorrow. Achilles withdrew from battle after a dispute with Agamemnon, refusing to fight. His absence emboldened the Trojans. Driven by grief over the death of his friend Patroclus at the hands of Hector, Achilles returned to the battlefield, consumed by rage. He killed Hector in a duel, desecrating his body. This act of vengeance would seal Achilles' own fate. He was later killed by an arrow to his heel, his only vulnerable spot. The siege dragged on. The Greeks, desperate for a way to break through, devised a cunning plan. They built a giant wooden horse and presented it to the Trojans as a peace offering. The Trojans, weary of war, accepted the gift, unaware of the danger lurking within. Hidden inside the horse's belly were Greek warriors, led by the cunning Odysseus. Under the cover of night, they emerged from their wooden prison and opened the gates of Troy. The city, caught off guard, fell to the Greeks. Troy was sacked, its treasures plundered, its people enslaved or slaughtered. The once mighty city was reduced to ruins. For centuries, the Trojan War was considered a myth, a captivating tale passed down through generations. The story of Helen, the face that launched 1,000 ships, and the cunning wooden horse that led to the fall of Troy has fascinated people for millennia. These stories were often thought to be purely fictional, a blend of myth and legend with no basis in historical fact. However, in the 19th century, an amateur archaeologist named Heinrich Schliemann was convinced that Troy was a real place. Despite skepticism from the academic community, Schliemann was determined to prove that the legendary city of Troy actually existed. His passion and determination led him on a quest that would change the course of archaeology. He used the ancient Greek poet Homer's Iliad, which tells the story of the Trojan War, as his guide. Schliemann meticulously studied the text, believing that the detailed descriptions within the epic poem could lead him to the actual site of Troy. His approach was revolutionary at the time, blending literary analysis with archaeological exploration. Astonishingly, he discovered the ruins of an ancient city in present-day Turkey. This discovery was groundbreaking as it provided the first tangible evidence that the city of Troy might not just be a figment of literary imagination. The ruins he uncovered were extensive and suggested a city of significant importance. The location matched the descriptions in the Iliad. The geographical features and the layout of the ruins corresponded closely with Homer's account, lending further credibility to Schliemann's findings. This alignment between the ancient text and the physical evidence was a remarkable validation of his theories. Further excavations revealed multiple layers of a city, indicating a long and rich history. These layers suggested that the site had been inhabited and rebuilt many times over the centuries, each layer telling a different chapter of the city's story. This stratification was crucial in understanding the historical context of the site. While it's difficult to say with certainty whether this is the real Troy, the archaeological evidence suggests that a powerful city did exist in that location. The artifacts and structures unearthed point to a city that was once a major hub of activity and influence in the ancient world, and it did suffer a catastrophic destruction, possibly around the time the Trojan War is believed to have taken place. The signs of fire and devastation found in the ruins align with the legendary accounts of Troy's fall, suggesting that there may be more truth to the ancient stories than previously thought. The Trojan War, whether a myth or a historical event, continues to captivate our imagination. It is a story of love and loss, of heroism and betrayal, of the destructive power of war and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Stories from the Trojan War have inspired countless works of art, literature, and music throughout history. The names of its heroes, Achilles, Hector, Odysseus, Helen, have become synonymous with courage, strength, cunning, and beauty. The Trojan War reminds us that even the mightiest empires can fall, and that the echoes of the past continue to shape our present.